The other day, one of my students made a remark to me that took me a bit by surprise. He said, you know, I get the feeling that a lot of times English speakers, native English speakers, aren't trying very hard to understand me when I speak English. And I know for my part, as a native English speaker, sometimes I have a difficult time understanding foreigners. My students are all from Spain, so Spanish speakers speaking English. And so it got me to thinking, well, why is that? Why would my Spanish-speaking students feel that way? And here's what I think. First of all, we have to acknowledge that the phonology of Spanish is simpler than the phonology of English. Spanish has fewer sounds in it than English does. In particular, the vowels. We have maybe 16 vowels in sounds in English, whereas there are only 5 in Spanish. So why does this matter? Well, to give you an example, suppose that I'm speaking Spanish and I say something with a really bad Spanish accent. Yo estoy aquí para hablar el español y tengo un coche rojo. Okay? Instead of estoy aquí para hablar español y tengo un coche rojo. Okay? Now, that example of Spanish that I gave is very badly pronounced, but it's still understandable. And why is that? Well, because if I say rojo in Spanish instead of rojo, there's no mistaking that the O, really I meant to say O, and the ho, I really meant to say ho, and ro, I really meant to say ro. Because there are no other sounds in Spanish that are similar to those sounds. And so it's easier, or it's a relatively easy matter for a Spanish speaker to determine what it is that I really want to say. All right? The situation is different in English though, because if I take, say, a consonant pair like B and T and put vowels in the middle, I can say beat, bit, bet, bat, bot, but, boot, bert, and so all of those are distinct words in English. And what happens is if somebody speaks English with an accent and mispronounces one of those words, I have a lot of choices that I have to go through in my mind to decide what that person was saying. And unfortunately, many of those mispronunciations are actually other words in English. No matter how badly I mispronounce the word rojo, like that, there is no other word in Spanish that it could be. It has to be the rojo. Whereas if somebody says beat and they mean bit or bat or bet or bert or butt, I have no way of knowing. So I think this is what is frustrating for both Spanish speakers and English speakers. The English speaker who hears a word and concludes that the speaker meant one thing, and then a few words later says, oh, no, he meant that. But now his mind is going back through and trying to reconstruct the sentence and determine what it was that he said, but then the speaker has said a few more words and now he gets lost and the English speaker is lost. Whereas if I'm speaking Spanish badly and I say rojo, it may require you to concentrate more, but you'll never confuse that with another word, and I think that's the key.